I lead presents to you, Future Vista New Edge Careers. Today's session is on Management as a Vocation, the ODC. Today's business leaders face increasingly complex responsibilities and demanding extensive knowledge of all the functional areas of business. Maintaining and enhancing managerial and leadership capital is key to the success.
I'm requesting Ms. Aparajita to open our session with her view regarding what are the things the students do expect in a course in business management, and with what are the notions they do come first, and how their perception should change gradually.
When we look at management today and the way it has evolved over the past years, we have to appreciate that it's gone beyond just the fundamental perception that it's merely to do with managing people. And the reason I say this is because with my background in psychology, international business and supply chain, and the way I've navigated my career pathway to become, like a startup entrepreneurship in research and advisory to with international business, it's important to appreciate management as an integrated tool that looks beyond people management, and it encompasses processes, quantitative measures. I was just speaking to a doctor previously and we were discussing the importance of the measurements or the quantitative aspect that makes management expertise even more efficient, because we're in a scenario right now that nothing really operates in silo. Everything is integrated, and there's an interface between policy, psychology, society, sustainability, environment, and therefore that has a massive impact in the way managers, whether it may be in banking, whether it may be media, entrepreneurship, and advising the government, and also academic, they're dealing with uncertainties in the way they're managing everyday decisions and strategies. So in terms of management as a vocation and career, it's important to appreciate that it's beyond the local operations. It's more to do with, right now, whatever you're thinking locally has an impact on your state, community, country, and then beyond as well. Because we're living in a world of globalization, and everything has a consequence. So I can be over here, I'm trying to network with the corporate sectors and institutes in West Bengal. That has an impact in the way other parts of India are understanding West Bengal. And that leads to an understanding of maybe Australia, that's where I'm from, how it's perceiving India and the corporate sectors over here. So just diverting a little bit, and I have to be conscious of the time, that when you're looking at management as a career, and that's basically the core discussion today, yes, you complete your bachelor's and you opt to get into master's, and then you have certain opportunities such as MNCs or joining the bank. And that has been traditionally the conventional route in terms of your career trajectory. But given globalization and the various options that have opened up for students such as yourself, there's also another trajectory into academia where you study management science, which I believe you've done. And that gives you a more grounding into the academic perspective and also delving deep into the research of management. Or there's an unconventional, perhaps, not that popular pathway, which is entrepreneurship. You can start off by your, collaborating with your peers and opening a startup. That's what you've been advising in as well. But whatever it is, and we were just having a very important conversation, that there's a perception that management is always akin or related to stakeholder management or human resources. But with the complexities that we are faced with right now, it's also about measuring. And I know people who are not that fond of mathematics really shy away from understanding, and they have to deal with that concept that, no, I don't want to deal with mathematics in management. But even if you're doing international business or supply chain management, there is an element of quantitative analysis that is required for you to expand on your managerial expertise. Because the simple standpoint, or the simple proverb, as we can call it, just says that you cannot manage what you cannot measure. So even when you're looking at HR, there's a perception that, okay, I'd like to do stakeholder management. How would you understand the performances improvement? You can motivate students, you can motivate any of your employees or your co-workers, or even at a very preliminary level, your classmates. But then how do you understand whether the motivation levels have actually gone up from the last time that you've actually spoken to them? So there has to be a rate of change that's visible, and therefore it's a structured process where you adapt to quantitative analysis, and you have to have that as a part of your mindset.
So as we are talking about several careers in management after graduating, so one thing that comes into the mind of the students, that banking as a career. So my question is, or rather the discussion should flowing towards Mr. Faisal, that he will enlighten us that just hearing the term banking as a career, what the student should understand.
If I talk about banking as a career, I recall the day when I got a job and I went to my mother and told her that I've got a job in banking. She said, "Kire ki korbi okhane giye taka dibi loke?" So I said, no, that's not all in banking. There are a lot of things that needs to be done. So of course people don't understand what people do in banking. Usually they think that you go, they disperse loans, credit cards, and then provide money to the people. That's it. But banking as a whole is a huge thing. JP Morgan, Barclays. So there are a lot of mechanisms behind a bank and how it works. And I was just talking a few minutes ago with my colleagues there that if someone goes to the bank and says that I want to get an account at any bank, they take your application, they put it there, and then you come back home, and after a few days you may hear that yes, your account has been open, and so on and so forth. But a lot of thing that goes behind it. So the forms gets accumulated, a data set needs to get created, a statistical model it gets built up, and then they decide upon whether a customer scorecard gets created, and they think that whether that person needs to be given an account in a bank or not, or for that matter any other thing. If you want a loan, whether this person needs to be given a loan or not. So there's so many things, a mechanism that goes into play, and what Aparajita was talking about in terms of mathematics. So mathematics is everywhere. So whatever you do, you have to learn mathematics. I'm sorry to say that. So there are so many things that gets involved behind a bank, which we may not see. So banking as a career, I think it has evolved a lot, and it is actually giving us a lot of career options these days. So within a bank, a huge bank, a giant bank like JP Morgan, there are various departments which people can work on. A CA can opt for a course there. A person with a commerce graduate can also make a career out of it. A person with arts background who feels that yes, he or she is good in legal aspects can also do that. Of course, from a mathematics point of view, if you are there, analytics is the way out. So the variety of jobs are there in a bank. And from a management perspective, I feel that, see, when you study, when you specialize in something, in graduation, you have specialized in engineering or anything, you get a job, but then slowly when you climb up the ranks, you feel that you need to have a management course in place. You need to manage people at some point in time. If not managing people, at least you would be managing your stakeholders. So that is also very important, and management teaches you these things. So all of us, when we are studying management, it's not just about one or two subjects. There are a variety of subjects, and there's a reason behind why a variety of subjects is done in management. So there's a lot of things that needs to undergo before you manage a team, you interact with the stakeholders, and then you create an environment wherein you also build leaders, not just you managing a team. So yeah, that's what I've said. I mean, banking as a career option, these days are coming up the ranks, and if people are closely following banks, huge banks, how they are performing, how they are working, I think it's a very, very good career option these days.
Dr. Arora, before coming to industry for a long period of time, you were in academics, hardcore academics. When students do take admission in BBA, or they think about taking admission in BBA, the three things they think first. Either we'll be doing something on marketing or HR or finance. Very few students think beyond that. So, sir, can you elaborate to the students that what are the things that actually they will learn when they are taking up a course in management?
To answer the question, let me first compare myself with you. When I was born, I didn't have that many opportunities to get into. I was born with an environment wherein I was having a tring phone. That phone wherein we have to put effort and dial 10 digits and then get connected to a call. But you people are born in the world where you only know the phone in terms of smartphones. You people are smart. In this era of smart TV, smartphone and smart gadgets, you people are smart. So careers are also smart. We were not into that era where our careers were smart. We had few choices. But today you have n number of choices. Unlimited. I won't say there's a limit, there's a number. There are n number of choices. From my spectrum of the presently where I am working, the way I am working, I can divide the career into 4 different dimensions. The first dimension is where you get into a job. You become an intrapreneur. I won't say a job, you become an intrapreneur. Because you are running a company for someone else. You are not running your own company, but you are running a company for someone else. This is entrepreneur. Second is entrepreneur, the startup world, where you have ideas, I would say flowing ideas, and you want to get something out of it. The money, the wealth. You want to get wealth out of that money. This is the second area of career. The third area is wherein you are not a startup, you are not an entrepreneur, but you want to do something in terms of your own, freelancers. I have seen many freelancers who are minting money. YouTubers are there, you know all those YouTubers, probably you are the main people who are actually giving them money. They are on YouTube, they are creating video, they are creating content, but you are the people who are actually making them earn money. Because you are subscribers, you are audience, you are viewers, you are making likes, you are commenting them. So these are the freelancers. I won't say YouTube is only the freelancing option, there are many. And the fourth option is where people are entrepreneurs working somewhere. Along with that, they are actually making money out of their passion. So passion to profession. This is the fourth set of basically the careers. So now the question is BBA. How BBA will help you in these 4 different sets of careers? Of course, if you know how to run business, if you know how to run or manage wealth, as ma'am, sir, both have mentioned that the numbers. Of course, business runs with numbers. So without numbers, you actually, even if you have Facebook page or Facebook profile, and if you post something, you always vouch for numbers. Kitna like aaya? Kitna like aaya? The numbers. Without numbers, even though your Facebook post has got no meaning. And if you don't get likes, you start getting worried. Likes nahi aaya. Likes nahi aaya. So you start changing the content. So just now I have mentioned the YouTubers, numbers. So without numbers, you cannot actually think of anything. Even if I start asking how much money do you have, you will give me an answer in terms of numbers only, na? You won't give me that figure that I have red color note, I have blue color note, I have this yellow color note. You will give me that I have 3,000 rupees, 4,000, 5,000, 10 rupees, 50 rupees, whatever. So think is, we are actually going beyond the limits of careers. And without managing those careers, without managing the numbers, without managing how these careers are going to affect your life in the future, won't make sense. Today, I heard somewhere that you can hire people who have intellects. Like I can give you a few examples. The biggest, the biggest e-commerce giant, who's the owner of that? Alibaba. Jack Ma. What is the qualification of Jack Ma? Is he a computer science engineer? He's an English graduate. And then he learned business. And then he started this company. And Black Friday and so many things, he started making billions of money on single day. He knows business. You can hire talents, you can hire people, manage them. But your idea is your idea. And to manage that idea, BBA, I think management education like BBA or MBA is must. Because if you don't know how to run that show, probably with that idea, you don't know how to do that idea. Idea, then idea testing, and then comes consumer. I think you must have heard that phrase, let the dog say about the dog food. I have an idea, let's say for example, I'm giving you one idea. I am very fond of sweets, and I started a sweet shop. Now, I am diabetic. So, being a diabetic, I thought, let me have some sugar-free sandesh, and started selling it. Would you like to give an answer? Will that sandesh will be sold out in the market? No, sir. Because I am not the consumer. If I have to run a business, I have to understand the consumer psychology. I cannot run a business from my psychology. I can have an idea, but if that idea fails in the market, who will save me? So many examples of failures. In Calcutta, about 2.5 decades back, there was big phrase on the Calcutta streets, Golano Shona 24 taka. Golano Shona 24 taka. People were crazy. 24 taka. Whether it is Golano or solid, how does it matter? It is gold. In 24 rupees. And then came a tetra pack of mustard oil, Dhara, and failed miserably. The idea was unique, that tetra pack. Although the product was not unique, classical. That mustard oil was classical in West Bengal. But how will you understand that unless you understand the consumer psychology? And this management course will tell you how to understand that consumer psychology. You can be an engineer, but then consumer psychology is important.
When we approach MNCs for job, so what are the expectations the company holds from the students other than academics?
I think from an MNC's perspective, apart from your scores, definitely your attitude. Now you can ask, what do you mean by that? So stakeholder management, how collaboratively you can work with others, because in an MNC setting, there'll be opportunities for you to work cross-functionally. So your group, your ability to work in a group, take perspectives, and also in certain cases, depending on which MNC and what role you're applying for, it's also your ability to be flexible and not always follow instructions, but also have that flexibility where you can sort of you can maneuver yourself in different areas and different aspects when and required. So I think that's one of the things that the MNCs expect.
Just to add on to Aparajita, today MNCs, or whether you call Indian companies or national global companies, when you apply to a company, they have access to your Facebook profile, LinkedIn profile and all. So they have now trackers like what is your behavioral traits and what are your skills, abilities, how much engaged you are with the audience, what is your network size, everything in data, as probably Faisal would emphasize on that. Data is there. Now, gone the old days, when if an MNC interviewer, I'll ask you what are your strengths and you will say my strength is loyalty. Prove it. You will not be able to prove it. Your strength is you're very hardworking. Prove it. Push the table. That's what I will ask you. So think of certain things which the company is looking at. Go with the job profile, job description which has been given to you before you go for an interview, and match your traits with the job profiles and job descriptions. Don't say my hobby is to read book when you are going and applying for a post which is into sales. But then this is actually helpful when you go for a research job, analytics job. So what are your hobbies? Match it with the company's requirement and then only give the interview. That is what the company is expecting from you, that you will be worth from day zero.
Plus your communication as well. I think that plays a very important part. How do you communicate? So we may have a lot of ideas, we may have got very nice answers, but if we are not able to communicate, I think that will be a major problem. And I think that varies from across all levels, whether you are as an entrance level or whether you go to a higher level. So communication is the key. How do you communicate? Plus how do you react to certain situations? So they may ask you certain tricky questions, put yourself into a situation and ask what would you do? They were just trying to see how do you react, whether you react in a very different way or you maintain your cool and calmness and then you answer those questions. So I think that is also something which they are looking into it. And of course, you have to be a very good communicator because that will always help you in your career, be it entry level or be it at any level.
I think it was really enlightening for me as well, Ms. Banerjee, because the flow of questions and the various ways that the students were engaged, I think it really challenged me to think in a different manner as well, because India is at a stage where you have so many. It's a complex space to be in, and the educational system as well offers a lot of opportunities. But the fact that I had first-hand experience interacting with students, and it made me really think, and I'll probably have to go back and think about how to better my sort of course offerings and the differences that lies in what I probably thought about Indian education system and exactly what the reality is. So it was a very enlightening and amazing experience.
I'm always try to learn something new. Of course, in this seminar also I have learned, of course, from the panelists as well as the questions which were asked from the students. Even I have learned from that also. Reason behind is that you people or the students are actually the future of this country or the world. So always keep learning from the students.
To be honest, this is the first time I have been part of these kind of talks, and I've been really. It's just a real pleasure to be invited here and to share your experience amongst the budding management trainees and students here. I really liked it. As I said in the beginning of my talk, that after say 13-14 years, which I was on the other side and now I'm on this side and talking about my experience, it's been wonderful. And I think these kind of initiatives which iLead has taken care of, this will go a long way in actually motivating students to take up these courses and build a very future, successful future of themselves.
The seminar was very good, and it explained everything very well. It explained how one should take courses and how one should do whatever related to that subject.